Anyway, hi everybody. I'm Laura B, and this is Laura B Cooks Gluten Free. And tonight I'm going to make some Greek-style meatballs, also called keftides. Meatballs are delicious. They've got different names depending on where you're from. In some languages, they say kofta. And this is Greek-style because it's going to include mint and oregano. And on the side, we're going to do a traditional Greek-style salad with just cucumber, tomato, and onion, little olives, and some feta. And we're going to do a tzatziki, which is a Greek yogurt sauce with shredded cucumber. So if you want to learn how to make this, tag along. I'll share some tips and tricks, things that I do. It doesn't have to be an expensive meal. You can use what you already have in the fridge. For example, I'm using only dry spices today, nothing fresh, because guess what? I was being lazy, honestly. I'm just being honest here. So, yeah, let's do it. We're going to start with all of our vegetables, things that aren't going to give us salmonella. We're going to wait until the very end to mess with our meat. So I've got my my oven preheated to 425 degrees. So make sure you get that going. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting extra long for your meatballs. And you're going to be super hungry, and nobody wants that. But first up, tomatoes. I am using Roma tomatoes. I just like the way they taste. And since it's summertime, you can get really nice tomatoes that taste really good. You could use cherry. You can cut them in half or leave them whole. It's really up to you. I like to keep the things in this Greek salad small because I really like that perfect bite. You know, a little bit of everything in it. So some tomato, some cucumber, some onion, some olive. And a salad that has everything that's chopped nice and fine, it just tastes better. I don't have proof. That's just science. It tastes better when it's chopped smaller. You may have heard my cat a second ago. She gets really excited when I'm cooking because she thinks I'm about to feed her. So we may hear her crying every so often. Yeah, there she goes. Hello, Villanelle. Hello. Yep, now she's standing on her hind legs begging. But I know she doesn't like tomatoes. All right, this is our last tomato. Let's go. That's side. Next up, cucumbers. We're using 2 cucumbers in this meal tonight. One of them's going to go in the salad, and the other one we're going to use for our tzatziki. So, because we're preparing them slightly differently, I'm going to do them one at a time. Cut the ends off the cucumber and chop it up into manageable lengths. Cut it in half, and then you can either do half moons or I'm going to quarter them because, again, smaller bites in your salad just tastes better. Use a nice sharp knife. If you don't know how to do it, there are all kinds of tools that can make knife sharpening easier for you, or you can bring it somewhere and have them sharpen it for you. Fun fact, you're more likely to cut yourself on a dull knife than a sharp knife. It's true. So I'm slicing these about 1/4 of an inch thick. Really not very thick at all. Let's clear off, give it some room. Right in the bowl with the tomato. Now that the cucumber is done with the salad, now we're going to prepare the cucumber for the tzatziki. Once again, cutting off the ends. don't need them. And I'm using just your standard box grater to grate the cucumber. And we want to get as much moisture out of it as possible. So I'm going to put some cheesecloth in the bowl to catch all of the shavings. You can use a clean dish towel. You can use paper towels, whatever you have. Not a big deal. So now just shredding the cucumber. If you don't have a box grater, you can just chop it really, really finely with your knife. Getting towards the end, so I'm going to slow down, be careful. Yes, I had grated off the tips of my fingers before. It's not fun. All right, we'll just eat that back. I'm going to get all of that cucumber goodness. All right. So in the cheesecloth, give it a squeeze, bring it out. There you go. Look at all that liquid coming out. All right. Let's take a look. And there we go. We've got a ball of cucumber, nice and dry. Pretty dry anyway. And that'll work. I'm going to go dump this water. And now we can leave that in the bowl we just used. Save that for our tzatziki. Next up, we're going to do our nice, smelly vegetables. We've got our onion. For some reason, my grocery store sells the red onions without the skin. I don't really understand why. It's not saving me any time because I'm still going to take the outer layer off. Because who knows what touched it? I don't. So, now once again, we're going to use half of this for the salad and the other half for the meatballs. So, excuse me. For the salad, I want it in really thin slices, and I don't want the slices to be too long because, again, little bites of everything. So this is a pretty large onion. I think I'm going to quarter it, and then I'm going to slice it very thinly this way. So nice and slow so I don't wreck myself. That's actually quite a bit, so adding that in with our cucumber and tomato. Now for the other half, because this is going in a ground meat mixture, I want to get it as fine as possible. So bringing back the box grater, and I'm going to grate this onion and put it in our bowl where the ground meat's going to go. And once again, you don't have to grate your onion, but you do want to get it as fine as possible because we want that ground meat mixture to be free from big chunks of onion and garlic. Woo. Sorry to make you cry. Oh gosh. So be sad, guys. I'm okay. Let me make it through. Oh, goodness. All right. I don't want to risk getting any closer with an onion that's already starting to fall apart. So, calling it quits there. Oh, goodness. Into the bowl. Now, if I had fresh garlic, I would also grate it because once again, as delicious as garlic is, I don't want to bite into big chunks of garlic in the meatballs. What I have on hand is already pre-minced garlic. So I'll grab a couple cloves worth about this much or so. This is a tablespoon. You know, we'll do a little more. I once saw something online that said, don't let a recipe tell you how much garlic to use. You listen to your heart. And I believe that. This garlic is so good. We finished all of our vegetables. I'm going to rinse my hands, clear my cutting board, and we'll start mixing in all the herbs and things that we need for our meatballs and forming them up. I'll be right back. So for the meatballs, traditionally it's a ground beef or lamb mixture or combination. You can use any ground meat you like. I found some nice organic grass-fed beef on sale, so I picked up 2 pounds of it, and that's what I'm going to use today. Thanks, cameraman. So, washing the beef right in. Ooh, yeah. I wanted to use a combination of beef and lamb. My grocery store didn't have any. So, beef it is. All right. Now, we want our meat to be super flavorful, excuse me. So we're going to season it very well. Of course, we need salt. Plenty of salt. Got fresh black pepper. And now for our spices. I'm going to use some dried mint. We're shooting for about a teaspoon here. So, there we go. And we want a teaspoon of oregano. I've got oregano here. It fits into the nice little pile in my hand. Boom. We're good on spices. I'm gonna add 1/3 of a cup of breadcrumbs, quote unquote, air quotes here because I have celiac disease. I can't eat gluten. And although, yes, they do make gluten-free breadcrumbs nowadays, I have this leftover toasted rice powder that I made by toasting white rice in a dry pan, letting it cool, and then using a coffee grinder, spice grinder, to grind it up into a powder. So that's my breadcrumb substitute. I'm gonna add 1 egg as well to bind it. And now we're ready to mix. If you want to use gloves, you may. I won't make fun of you. Because there's a lot of very fragrant things going on in here. And I understand if you don't want your hands to smell like onion and garlic. Or maybe you just don't like the cold squish of raw meat in your fingers. I understand that as well. And if you're wondering, did I add enough seasoning? You can always add more, and it'll be fine. I don't know if anyone's ever complained that something was too flavorful. But if you really want to know before you commit to baking your meatballs in the oven, you can just take a little bit of your mixture, cook it up in the frying pan real quick, taste it, and adjust the seasonings from there. So here's my meatball mixture. Smells good. So I actually smell the garlic and onion more than anything. I'm gonna add a bit more of the oregano and mint. So with my clean hand, I'm gonna sprinkle some more. Boom. It's about another 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon of each. All right. So it's all mixed up. I can see my herbs in there, little flecks of green. Now I'm gonna ball them up. I want them to be a little bit smaller than a golf ball. That's right about golf ball size. See? And they don't have to be perfectly round. If you're gonna eat them in a pita or on a sandwich, it might even be easier to flatten them slightly. So I'll shoot for round, and if they flatten themselves out, that's okay. If you make them really large, they'll take longer to cook. Again, not a problem. I just would rather eat sooner than later. Now I'm just putting these straight onto a baking sheet. You can line it with parchment paper or foil if you want to avoid some heavy-duty cleanup. Unlike cookies, these are not going to expand in the oven. So I've got about an inch worth of space between them. Don't want them too close though. You need room to breathe. All right, we're just gonna pause the video. And once I've got all of these meatballs on a tray, we'll come back and pop them in the oven and finish up our meal. All right, we're back. I finished rolling out all the meatballs. I washed my hands really well to avoid any sort of salmonella or cross-contamination. And check it out, I've got a full tray right here, and I've got nearly a full tray over here. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven. As I mentioned, the oven's at 425 degrees. And we're gonna cook them for 25 minutes, see how they're doing. All right, so 25 minutes is on the clock. We can finish dressing up our salad. We can finish preparing the tzatziki, and they'll be ready to go when our meatballs are done. So let's go. In our salad bowl, I've already got the onions, cucumbers, and tomatoes. To this, we are going to add, they're salty, they're delicious. You can chop these up. I'm gonna leave them whole. Add some Kalamata olives. It's all right to get a little bit of the liquid in there. It'll become part of the dressing. That's the olive. Come on, let's go. Just wait. All right, for the dressing, we're going to use a combination of olive oil, lemon juice, and a little bit of red wine vinegar. You can use a white wine vinegar or some other light vinegar. If you don't have vinegar, just use lemon juice or lime juice. If you don't have lemon juice or lime juice, just use vinegar. It's all right, because the vinaigrette is basically oil and acid. And the lemon juice and vinegar give you that acid. So I just put a nice good 3 tablespoons or so of olive oil. And then I'm going to do about a tablespoon. Nope, I won't. I gotta open it. I wasn't ready, guys. I wasn't ready. Add about a tablespoon each of the vinegar and lemon juice. And if I had those fresh herbs, parsley, cilantro, believe it would be in here. Salt, of course. A sprinkle of salt. My pepper back here. Fun side note, I got this pepper grinder in Greece, and it's made from olive oil. I think that's neat. All right. I have some dried cilantro. So I told you if I had fresh, I would use it. I don't, so I'm going to sprinkle in some dried cilantro to help give this a nice herby taste. Let's mix it up. Everything nice and combined. This is such a great summer salad because, as I mentioned, tomatoes and cucumbers, by the way, are summer vegetables. So you get really good quality ingredients. And when your vegetables are in season, they taste better. It's just true. All right, let's give it a little taste. I want some of everything here. It's really good. Okay. I'm keeping a spoon because this is my house. And I'm going to use it to put the Greek yogurt in the tzatziki bowl. So, in the bowl that has our shredded cucumber, let's break that up a little bit. I'm going to add a cup of plain Greek yogurt. I have whole milk Greek yogurt. You can use non-fat. Again, my grocery store didn't have non-fat. I know that's normally what I buy. Got that started to it. Salt and pepper, like always. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And here's where our garlic powder and onion powder get involved. Purists may say, that doesn't go into tzatziki, but I think it tastes good. And I live for tasty food. So just a gentle shake each of onion and garlic powder. And I have some dried dill. Let's shake that into my palm. About a half a teaspoon of dried dill. Mixing it all up. Add some of our lemon juice. If you're wondering, isn't that going to curdle? That's dairy and lemon. It's not. It's totally fine. And in fact, a pretty important ingredient to help brighten up the flavor. All right. You should always taste your food to make sure it is to your liking. So here we go. All right, I'm starting to get a little bit of the herbs and stuff, but it needs more salt. It needs a little bit more salt, more pepper. I said, don't be afraid of flavor, folks. Some more onion powder. Some more garlic powder. And yes, more dill. Definitely more dill. Get in there. Yum. Taste. I like that. Go ahead, take a look. There's our delicious, creamy, flavorful tzatziki. And now, in about 15, 16 minutes or so, our meatballs will be ready. You can serve it with a side of rice. You can serve it in pita, however you want. I'm just going to eat it right on the plate with my salad and my tzatziki, fork and knife. I'm so excited. We're going to pause here, and when the meatballs come out, we can dish up and eat together. See you soon. All right, guys, it only took 20 minutes for the meatballs to be done. So let's get the bad boys out. They're sizzling. They smell so good. They look good. I went ahead and cut one open to make sure that it was completely cooked on the inside. And it is. And in that 10 minutes while they were cooking and after we had finished our other components, cleaned up my counter, put the dishes in the sink, and we're already halfway done with our evening. We can just enjoy ourselves. So let's dish up. I'm so excited. I'm gonna grab a few meatballs here. Yum. And if you feel like this is too many meatballs that you and your household can eat, they freeze really, really well. And then you just microwave how many you need in the future. Boom, that's another meal ready to go. You could put them in your spaghetti sauce, make spaghetti. I won't be offended. Greek people eat spaghetti too. Next up, our nice, delicious tzatziki sauce. Yes, yum, 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 yum. A little pile right there. And now our salad. That vinaigrette has been soaking in. A little bit of brine in there from the olives as well. Not quite done. One last little thing to really kick it off. Feta cheese. You can buy it already crumbled like I have. They also sell big blocks of feta in water, and you can drain out the water, chop up the feta, add it into your salad that way. It's so good. And here it is, guys. This is our Greek meatball meal with a traditional Greek salad and tzatziki. Time to taste. Let's see. Hot fresh meatball, a little bit of tzatziki on there. It's hot. It's really good. I'm happy with it. I hope you're happy with it. Let's get some salad now. Onion, tomato, olives, cucumber, get on there. Feta, perfect little bite. It's exactly what I was craving. We had a hot, earthy meatball. Cool it off with some nice fresh tzatziki. And you got your cold, tangy salad with the salty feta and the briny olives. It was a great meal. I don't even miss the pita. Don't even miss it. But I hope you love the recipe. I hope you give it a try. Let me know what you think. And if you've made any variations, I'd love to hear what you've done. So until next time, take care. Thank you and good night.